welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic.
Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy at the request of Patreon subscriber Spunky, and this is Bug Beans, the classic signature BoshNRoll archetype. Spunky is historically into the 4 and 5 color beans, likes that sort of grindy control style, but begrudgingly admitted that that's not really where you want to be in this lightning fast format we find ourselves in right now. So he has been exploring Bug. The core of this deck is just the basic Bug Bean shell. Up the Beanstalk is the engine at the center of it. Whenever you cast something that costs 5 or more, you draw a card. Then a bunch of ways to cheat on that. Force of Will costs 5, but really 0. Cut costs 5, but really 1. Bargain costs 6, but really 3. Murktide costs 7, but really 2. That's the engine. You get a nice spread of interaction with this deck. Murderous Cut, Thoughtseize, Fatal Push, Daze, Force of Will, Witherbloom Command, one of the defining cards of this archetype. Really, like, how good Bug Beans is highly contingent on how good Witherbloom Command is in a format. And killing things like Orcish Bowmasters is pretty good. Wasteland is important in any matchup that goes longer than one turn in the current format. Occasionally you burn someone out with this, like the burst damage that this deck's capable of with, like, Murktide Regent arriving as an 8/8, you Witherbloom Command them, you fetch Mystic Sanctuary, buy back Witherbloom Command, which also makes Murktide bigger, Witherbloom again. You can, like, turn the corner and actually kill someone from 20 very quickly with this setup, if you're aware of it. What Spunky has done with the deck, though, is make it just a little more aggressive. My build of the deck and Pokemoki's build of the deck have fewer Tamios, fewer Bowmasters, and no Kaito. Spunky has basically embraced, if I have to go slower and I don't get to be a 5-color ponderous mess pile, I'd like to be even more aggressive than Bug Beans traditionally is. Tamio, obviously a great card. There are copies of it in my list of Bug Beans, but not 3, so it's much more of a plan here. Bowmaster, the full 3 of. I think I'm playing 2 right now, plus 1 in the sideboard. And then Kaito, a way to really turn the screws on an opponent who is dirtling or thinks they have more time than they really do. The only change I made from the list that Spunky sent me is Spunky had 4 Beanstalks. I think the format's too fast for that. I think 3 is fine, especially with Rakshas's Bargain carrying a lot of the weight of seeing more cards. Obviously, Bargain is great if you have Beanstalk in play, but it's also great if you don't. And I feel like 6 is too many slots to dedicate to just drawing cards right now, when many of the games that we are going to be part of could end up before we get a turn. So I switched the 4th Beanstalk with the first Nile Spellbomb in the main. There's another one in the board. And just respect the graveyard. The metagame right now is close to 25% between Reanimator and Oops All spells. Those are the top 2 decks, and they are massively popular and massively good. Gotta respect it if you want to win. And there it is. That's Bug Beans, slightly more aggressive than usual from Spunky. Let's do it. I'm on the play for round 1, and this hand is not capable. Gonna mulligan. We don't go all in on Murderous Cut. Oh no. The opposite problem. I gotta shuffle better. Okay, down to 5 we go. This one is a keeper. I have to get rid of 2 of these cards. I can't cast this Witherbloom Command, though it is the closest thing to a 2-for-1 that I have access to. Murderous Cut is a ways away, and Daze could keep me alive. Alright, I'm going to get rid of Witherbloom Command. And I'm just going to cast this Nile Spellbomb. The fun of Nile Spellbomb in my main deck is here. Hope they're Reanimator. Yeah, the top 2 decks in Legacy these days are Reanimator and Oops All spells, making up about a quarter of the metagame online between them. Just, I would like access to Nile Spellbomb, is what I'm saying. Okay, I could Brainstorm now. That could find Thoughtseize. That's a card I would cast right now. Ponder is a card I would cast right now. This is probably Painter that I'm playing against. I think I will Brainstorm now. If this is Painter, they're going to have a bunch of Red Blasts in their deck that I would prefer not to get cooked by. This could be land number 3 if I need it to be. But this land doesn't help me cast Bargain in a way that is helpful or interesting. I think I'm going to get rid of Sanctuary and Force of Will. It's basically like I didn't cast Brainstorm. Perfect. I turned Brainstorm into Fatal Push. That's what just happened. Ancient Tomb, there it is. Ensnaring Bridge. All right. I could daze this. How important is this to me? Gotta consult the list. Can I beat this card? And Tamiyo can attack through it no matter what. I don't have a Petty Theft in my deck. Witherbloom Command can't get it. This card might actually be unbeatable. That's annoying, but okay. I'll daze this Ensnaring Bridge. Their deck has Spirit Guide in it sometimes, so they might be able to just pay for this daze. Hope that doesn't happen, though. Bummer. All right, you got me. This is going to be tough. Not going to lie. Just one of those cards that is weird, but if it happens, bad news. I'm actually going to get Hedge Maze here for the additional selection rather than turning on black necessarily. All right, Beanstalk I'll take. Beanstalk, get in. I do have little creatures like Bowmaster that can ping and maybe get in under the Ensnaring Bridge. If they're hurting themselves with Ancient Tomb, that helps. Urza's Saga. I think I want to just Wasteland Urza's Saga. I'm not going to try to get cute with the Ancient Tomb. Okay, I do quite like the idea of casting Rakshas's Bargain. I could waste them off red and make them go into Saga Gaming. I think I'd rather just not have Urza's Saga in play, though. They floated some manas. Yeah, there is truly not a single way in the deck to remove a resolved Ensnaring Bridge in the main. Painter's Servant resolves. I have a Fatal Push for that, but they can probably Pyroblast my push. Another Beanstalk. I'm actually into this because if they think they need to fight over this, if they Pyroblast it, that clears the way for Fatal Push. Okay, now I can pitch Bargain to Force of Will if I want to, or need to do that. Okay, here's Grindstone. I'm gonna push Painter in response, because otherwise we're just in this weird holding pattern where they can just win. If they just tap out right here and I push, then I'm in good shape. But if they just hold up 3 mana for the rest of the game, I basically have to hold up my mana for the rest of the game too. It gets super weird. And I will Force of Will a Red Blast here. This now draws 2 cards. They would need Spirit Guide plus another Red Blast to stop this. Okay, sweet. And even if they do have Spirit Guide Red Blast, they don't have 3 mana anymore, and I can get a turn to Edict the Painter. Okay. Grindstone is in play. I'm going to play Misty Rainforest because that can get Mystic Sanctuary at this point. They could probably actually win this game by slow decking me, just with Grindstone. Just spend 3 mana. Ugh, Soul Guide Lantern's rough. I need my graveyard for stuff. I don't want to, buy back Force of Will in response, because I just don't think that card is very good in the matchup. Maybe they'll spaz this off to draw a card. Yeah, I could Nile Spellbomb for Velocity, but they are a deck that uses their graveyard at least a little bit. Ooh, a real card. We did it, gamers. Their deck obviously has Red Blast and Lightning Bolts in it, but we have this thing for now. 0 power, by the way. Okay, they are using Soul Guide Lantern to draw. Cleared that bar. My graveyard remains intact for Witherbloom Command, Murktide Regent, etc. You're dead. I could have drawn with Nile Spellbomb in response to see if I hit Brainstorm or something that triggers Beanstalk. Seems like a mess, though. This also seems like a mess. Okay, this is going to have to resolve, and I'll Edict the... Or I actually had the ability face up to flip Tamiyo there. If I had bought back Brainstorm with Mystic Sanctuary, cracked Nile Spellbomb, drawn a card, then Brainstormed. Disappointing. All right, I'm going to Edict a token. Opponent sacrifices a creature token of their choice. Fatal Push. That can eventually kill the Fable. Really don't like my position here, though. I'm being super squirrely with this Nile Spellbomb because they have the Arena of Glory. If they have a Goblin Welder or Goblin Engineer that shows up with haste, that could very quickly ruin my life. Another Fable. But it might be time to just buy back Brainstorm with Mystic Sanctuary and try to get some velocity going here. Just hoping this finds a Bargain or Murderous Cut or Murktide or something that moves the game forward with my Beanstalks. There's Bargain, double Bowmaster, let's go. Okay, I think I'm going to put back Push and... Oh, man, they have this passive Grindstone. That's so annoying. Would they use it? Would they just blind mill me like that? All right, I'm going to put back a Push and a Bowmaster, and I'm going to Bargain immediately. This redraws those cards right away, plus I get to see the next spread. Polluted Delta gives me access to Bowmaster, and Daze can reset Mystic Sanctuary. Ponder's probably better than that, though. Okay. I'm going to fetch for Bayou, and I'm going to Orcish Bowmaster their Goblin Shaman in their upkeep. Okay, they are blind grindstoning me. Oh, they're blind grindstoning themselves. Deal. I have Nile Spellbomb in play. That is a sweet value play that exists in the Painter Shell, but not when there's Graveyard face up. Okay, this timing means that if they discard even a single card, they will lose their Goblin Shaman, and if they attack, they lose their Goblin Shaman. Okay, the first Fable flips. I do have Fatal Push available for that. They just exiled a Simian Spirit Guide. Was that a misclick? What just happened? Oh, I think they meant to discard it to Fable. Weird. Okay. There is a mana floating and a Spirit Guide in exile. Unless they just play Painter right now, then I lose. That was a risk I had to take. Spending a lot of mana. Okay. Fury. Fair enough. It is locked under their own Ensnaring Bridge. The second Fable starting to become a problem, though. Okay, can I Beanstalk my way out of this? Ponder. There's another Beanstalk and a Force of Will. I feel like I'm just going to deck myself if I go down this road. Like, what even is my plan to win here? Having triple Beanstalk Force blue card's pretty exciting. Oh, they're at 8. So, Witherbloom Command, I have 2 of those. That's 4 damage. I have 3 Bowmasters in my deck, 2 left. That's 6 damage. If they tap Ancient Tomb once, I have enough burn in my deck to finish them off. Alright, we'll do this. Ponder, Force, Beanstalk. Do not shuffle. Play Beanstalk. This draws Force. Spellbomb you. I draw a card. This is to turn on Fatal Push, because I gotta clear this Reflection of Kiki Jiki. And I might as well Ponder. I've got the mana. And now my plan, I know what it is. These cards do not help me. I'm going to shuffle. In Murktide draws 3 cards, but 2 of them are going to be Wasteland and Mysterian Forest. You know what? If my plan is to burn them out, I will take the Ancestral Recall. It's also an extra blue card to force. So force my way through their spells and hope that my 6 points of burn line up correctly against what they're doing. Okay, draw on fresh ones, or no, I'm not. We knew what these were. Don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'm gonna just exile some lands from my graveyard because Murktide Regent doesn't actually have to be big. I'm gonna exile 1 spell, so it's big enough to beat Fury in combat. Or I guess they should have made it big enough to survive Fury in combat. Okay. Wasteland wants to take out Arena of Glory eventually. Now I'll just make the Murktides big. Okay, both of them huge. Draw another 3 cards. Looking for my burn. There's Kaito. That is another 3 points of damage if I can attack with a Tamiyo ever. Which won't be easy because they can start copying Fury and taking out small things. Alright, I'm going to Wasteland Arena of Glory. And I don't think I'm going to Thoughtseize them at all this game. So, yeah, I'll just discard Thoughtseize in the cleanup step. Okay, if they activate Grindstone once, they didn't float mana with Arena. Okay, they started tapping Grindstone and then realized they would need to use Ancient Tomb to do it. But if they start slow grinding me in concert with the Beanstalks, like, this is a careful dance that we dance here. Alright, end step, Bowmaster their face. I just have to inflict damage to them at this point. They can copy Fury basically whenever they want. If I cast Lorien Revealed, I draw 6, and they can mill me for 4 over the next turn cycle. That's 10 cards. That's enough to keep playing. Alright, Lorien Revealed, let's go. Do I want to fetch first? I think I do. I'll get another Underground Sea. And then we've got Lorien Revealed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It draws 3 even if they Pyroblast it. Murderous Cut. That draws another 3, but it does kill Fury, which clears the runway for what I need to do here. So I draw 3, 9 cards left. They mill me for 4 over the next turn cycle. That's 5. Okay, I'm going to cast Tamiyo and pass the turn. They'll probably copy Fury in the end step, and I'll cut it. Oh, wow, they didn't copy Fury. Sweet. All right, Thoughtseize, Brainstorm, discarded. Not going to be drawing more cards than I have to this game. City of Traders is really bad for me. Now they can Grindstone without taking damage. Both Witherbloom's commands still kicking around the bottom 12 cards in my deck. All right, here's the copy on Fury. Here's the blowout with Murderous Cut. Murktides get huge. They do have 1 card in hand as well, which means the Bowmasters can attack right now. And one of them will get through. There's a Witherbloom. Oh no, this flips Tamiyo. Fuck my life. I forgot that. I actually needed that as an attacker, but I was losing it anyway. It's fine. Okay. That lets me rebuy the Witherblooms. That's now my win condition. Okay, plus Tamiyo. And should I Witherbloom before combat? They're going to block anyway. If I clear Grindstone, that's something else that the Witherbloom command can do. All right, here's my land. How much damage do I actually have here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they are like dead, actually. Okay. I'm just going to attack with these Bowmasters and hope they don't have an instant. That makes that not an option. Okay, there's a block. Kaito, Bane of Nightmares. Blue, black, colorless, making sure I'm leaving up green, black, green, black. Big hit. Opponent is at 4. Witherbloom command. Burn you out. Target player loses 2 life and destroy Grindstone. Grindstone, you lose 2 life. Black, green. What a sweet game this turned it out to be. They are grinding me. It did not repeat. I don't need it to. It doesn't matter. Then the other Witherbloom, -3, -1, lose 2 life. Kill your goblin, kill you. Secret burn deck. With the help of Ancient 2, that put them to 8. They did the first 12 to themselves. Okay, to the sideboard, where things get a lot better. Hydroblast, Pernicious Deed, Disruptor Flute, Force of Vigor. Probably Barrowgoyf. Fatal Push is useful here too. Sheoldred's Edict is somewhat useful. Nile Spellbomb somewhat useful. Probably not bringing in a second Spellbomb, but also not cutting the one that's in my deck already. All my Force of Wills can go. Daze also pretty bad versus the Spirit Guide Ancient Tomb deck. Like, not only do they jump the mana curve with their Ancient Tombs, but I don't even know if Daze will counter a spell when they cast it because of the presence of Spirit Guide. Just play this game to the board, as they say. Yeah, I think 1 Spellbomb's fine. I like the Tamiyo Kaito business. That's a way to crack Ensnaring Bridge, even though now I have several answers to Ensnaring Bridge in the deck. I have 3 Fatal Pushes. They do have a lot of creatures I like to kill. I have 19 lands plus 2 Lorien Revealeds and my cantrip suite. I think I can afford to lose a Lorien Revealed to get a Fatal Push in. Now that I don't need to support my blue count because my forces are out. 2 feels like a reasonable number of Thoughtseize. I could also see 1 as a number. I don't like 3. I'm not going to bring in the extra 1. Okay, yeah, this is what I'm going to do. It is nice versus Ancient Tomb decks when you're not sure how you're going to win, then you look up and they've done 12 to themselves. I'll keep this. Can answer a Goblin or deploy a Tamiyo. Pretty soft to a Moon right now. Sometimes they have those, sometimes they don't. They are an Urza Saga deck. Fable is not a Moon. It is a powerful permanent to start the game on, though. I'm going to Fatal Push this Goblin. And I think I will use Basic Swamp to do it, just in case. That would be a stupid thing to lose a game over when I have a bounty of mana to use. Yeah, Lotus Petal City of Traders, 2 temporary mana sources to get the Goblin token, which you kill that, then their mana is pretty wonky. See what their plan is to grind out of this. Ooh, into Chaos Defiler. That could be spooky. I do have the Nile Spellbomb, though. If they just send a Painter, hit a land drop, play Grindstone, that's a way that I could lose this game quickly. I'm not set up for that right now. Okay, they lost their City of Traders. Another Fable, okay. They are treading water pretty effectively over there. Hey, get out of here. And I will save my I think I should play Tameo here and get something going. I can Nile Spellbomb anytime. If they produce Arena of Glory, an artifact, and cast Goblin Welder from their hand right now and flip in Chaos Defiler, that's a lot. That could go, it has to go right. It's a way this could slip away, and it's something I could have played around, but I think like versus all normal spreads and outcomes, this is going to be better. Wow, fascinating. They dumped an Urza Saga when they are spinning for mana, but I guess they had another one. Makes sense. All right, there's Goblin Welder. It does not have haste, and they don't have an artifact. Managed to dodge the worst outcomes for that. Land, attack. I think I have to just Nile Spellbomb them. Because Reflection can copy Welder, and then they have two of those. They can layer on top of stuff. If they just come up with any artifact anywhere, I get hit with like multiple Chaos Defilers next turn. Yeah, I'm going to take this shot. Another draw here means like I'm a ponder away from flipping Tameo, or it could be Fatal Push. It was just Bayou instead. All right, fair enough. Well, they have no graveyard, but they do have two active Goblin Welders. With the Chaos Defiler in exile, that's kind of their big flurry that no longer exists. But, I mean, this is a lot of stuff going on. Uh-oh. Okay. The Chaos Defiler's gone, like I said. And they don't actually have an artifact to weld whatever this is into. But whatever this is, probably, maybe they get Painter here with the plan of tutoring Grindstone off Saga next turn. Setting up a combo win that way. Dragon Engine, okay. That card is good, but not currently usable for them. They can weld my Clue into Nile Spellbomb if they want to. I don't know why they do that, but it's available. Hydroblast, one of the best cards I could have. Okay, draw for turn, and I'd like to attack with Tameo. Engineer can also recur Dragon Engine, and if they copy Engineer, they could entomb something. They do get to tutor. So they can tutor Grindstone, entomb a Painter. They don't have enough mana to do all of that in one shot. I think I want to kill Goblin Welder and then play Murktide Regent. I can't do that. I don't have the right mana. Then I guess I will cast Rakshas's Bargain and see what shakes out of it. Or I could just kill Welder, leave up Bargain. Yeah, I guess that's what I do. Destroy target permanent if it's red. That one. Okay. That's not a complete solution to all my problems. Their lack of mana is the thing that is keeping me in the game right now. If they play Ancient Tomb from hand, that's probably one of the best cards they could have. Lotus Petal. Magus of the Moon. Well, I don't like that card. Blue, green, black in response. I did not find an answer to that, nor my basic island, nor my Lorien Revealed. I guess I will take Ponder and Thoughtseize. All right, there's that card. They went all in to get it, but it is pretty strong. Black to I'm a mana short of casting Bargain right now. I'd like to eat one of my clues. Right, there's a land. I'll play it, and might as well Thoughtseize ya. My life total is an issue right now. Pyroblast gotta go. They have a Goblin Engineer in hand that they can't cast, and I'm gonna hold Tameo back to absorb some of this damage that's coming my way. And flipping her, I guess, stops. They can't quite kill her. Maybe I was supposed to flip her there. Here comes the squad. I'll block Magus of the Moon. They drew a land, so Goblin Engineer is live. They still don't have an artifact, but they're not going to need one. 2 of my 4 Fatal Pushes are already gone. Like, keeping the Clue for Fatal Push doesn't make sense because I can generate a new Clue with Tameo. Right. Underground Sea, not helpful. Murktide Region, not helpful. I guess I have to bargain into basic Island Hydroblast. Hold on. What do you think is going on here? All right, there we go. Barrowgoyf's going to be a turn late. That one would have done it. Okay, my life total is 6. They're attacking me for a lot more than that. GG. All right. Got by Magus of the Moon. It's a lot to keep track of in these matches. Basically, all my answers to that card were in. I don't feel too bad about that. Fetching Basic Island earlier or something that I could have done. I did fetch the Swamp on turn 1 with the option. Glad I did that at least. Okay, I mean, this is the deck I have. Let's do it. I like this just fine. This has access to Hydroblast into Beanstalk. Witherbloom Command's very good against some of the things in their deck. Wasteland can be good against them. Turn 1 Magus of the Moon. They pitch 2 Spirit Guides to do that. All right, I am going to go all in on Tropical Island here and hope they don't have a 3rd Spirit Guide and a Red Blast, because I want to cast Beanstalk. All right, cool. Ooh, do I fetch Basic Swamp here? I think I do. Maybe this isn't a fight I need to keep fighting, but that feels reasonably responsible to do. I can still cast Witherbloom Command. I have Wasteland for that. Painter's Servant. Okay, I could Force of Vigor 2 of their permanents right now. Does that make sense to do? What am I worried about happening? It's a 2 for 2. If I pitch Witherbloom Command to do it, Bargain remains on the table for me. If they get to untap again, they could Red Blast my forest, which sucks. All right, I am going to do it. Pitch Witherbloom Command. And we're straight into Bargain Town. Basic Island. Play around Red Blast. Get my 3 cards. Disruptor Flute, Pernicious Deed, and Barrogoyf. Let's go. All right. 3 sideboard cards in my hand versus an opponent with 1 mountain in play. Saga, I'm ready. Another bargain. We're doing it. We're firing on all cylinders here. This is the Bug Beans experience that you want. And here's a 5/6. Goblin Welder. That dies easily to Pernicious Deed, or I can just flute it. I will not be Kaitoing in this Barrogoyf. I will use this. If it hits Bowmaster, we're in business. Hit Tameo, I'll take it. And Disruptor Flute, naming Goblin Welder. Tameo, Inquisitive Student. As a blocker. Arena of Glory, a little scary. A lot scarier than a mountain would be, but probably a lot worse than Ancient Tomb. Alright, you're dead, Tameo. Smell you later. Didn't attack for 1. Does that mean their plan is to eventually remove Disruptor Flute or just block Barrogoyf? I'll let them have the block. I'm not going to get aggressive on the life total here if I just keep my hand flush. I think I'm okay. All right, no attack, no block. Just not interested in using their Welder at all. Bowmaster, ding, 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 ding. We did it. Now the Welder's just dead anyway. Yeah, I will pass the turn with Goblin Welder or Murderous Cut available, or Rakshas's Bargain. Okay, they hit land number 3. This is where all their good cards are. Do they have a card that still saves them here? Fable mostly doesn't matter. All right, I'm going to Bowmaster in the end step, kill the Welder. And then Pernicious Deed for 0 kills my Orc army, but it also kills their Goblin and Urza Saga. And I get to keep a mana up. I'm into that. Busted for 0. Play my land. Attack for a gajillion. I'm actually going to fetch to make sure there is still a fetchable land. The Barrogoyf doesn't mill them all away. And I am not going to mill with Barrogoyf. What I have should get over the line here. And we did it. Okay. A very exciting, interesting game 1 that came down to counting how many points of direct damage my deck contains, and then clowned out in a game that we otherwise couldn't lose by a Blood Moon in game 2, which I could have fetched a basic island earlier. I had a couple chances at that, so partially on me there. And then game 3, just the full Bug Beans experience. Great showcase of the deck in round 1 in a really interesting matchup. On to the next one. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I am on the play in round 2. I'm going to keep my hand. This is basically Thoughtseize Bitter Blossom for the old heads who like this sort of thing. The question is, do you lead on Tameo or Thoughtseize? If you lead on Tameo, you get to play your own Wasteland because you have the basic island. If you're going to Thoughtseize, you have to fetch Bayou, which is the worst land in the deck, but it is the one that turns on this particular hand's configuration of cards. Bayou also stinks because it means we can't Tameo Brainstorm. However, my opponent just mulled to 5, which, even if we weren't in a completely broken combo-centric format right now, I would still Thoughtseize the opponent who mulled a 5. Okay, they don't want me to know what they're playing. Fair enough. Turn 1 win with Bug Beans. Eat shit. Okay, so I'm going to treat this like some kind of combo deck. If they are just like, is it Delver, and they happen to mull to 5, and they trick me into boarding like they're a combo deck, they're going to have some pretty significant advantage, but I think Is it Delver would just play it out. So I don't think that's actually what's going on. They are a combo deck. They just don't want me to know what flavor. Veil of Summer is coming in. Flusterstorm, Disruptor Flute, Thoughtseize, Surgical, Nile Spellbomb. I think these are the In the Dark combo package. Cards that are clunky and unnecessary. How about Murderous Cut, Fatal Push? Bowmaster, depends on what kind of combo they are. Basic Swamp, probably not necessary against a deck not trying to play a long game. 18 lands with 2 Lorians is plenty. The basic lands are really just to respect the Wasteland and Blood Moon gamers out there, which I don't think we're up against right now. I think I am going to shave a Bowmaster. Witherbloom Command. If they're a combo deck that plays cards like Defense Grid and Chrome Mox, Witherbloom Command can get a lot of juice. But if they don't have those cards, it's blank. I like all of my blue cards because they pitch to Force. I like my Tamiyo's, Murktides, and Kaitos because they get the game over. Yeah, I think I'm just going to cut both Witherblooms and hope that's not a mistake. The tactical concession is doing a lot of work right now in my sideboard plan. All right, let's get it. Here's my deck. Like if this is Sneak and Show, I would have brought in the Epic Gamble or Ruby Storm. I would have brought in the Hydroblast. I don't know to do that. All right, I've got Force Blue card in my opening Grizzle Grazzle here, so that is the best raw I don't know what's going on card I could have. Opponent's on 6 this time. Oh wow, okay, so it's not Oops All Spells. Is this like Cradle Control? What are we working with? What if it's just Maverick? That would be so funny. All right, it's Combo Elves, it seems. All right, fair enough. That is allowed. And I boarded out most of my removal. I think I left a few Fatal Pushes in, right? Yeah, I have 2 Fatal Pushes still in the deck. I didn't bring in Pernicious Deed. Really good tactical concession. All right, Tamiyo's in play. That blocks Nettle Sentinel. Good luck over there, sucker. Thought you would beat me to death 2 points at a time. Not on my watch. Sylvan Anthem. All right. Oh, wow. Okay, so they can bash through Tamiyo with this. All right, you can have a 3/3 that untaps conditionally. That's fine. I'm not going to spend my precious Force of Will on that shit. I'm looking for Natural Order. I'm looking for Glimpse of Nature. I do still have Fatal Pushes in my deck. Murktide's bigger than this shit. Here we go. What's left over there? What are you cooking with? Macabre, Endurance, Natural Order. Okay, so the flip side of the tactical concession is they didn't know my deck either. They just saw Bayou Thoughtseize. So they have stuff like Fairy Macabre in that does not make sense. I'm going to take Endurance and then Wasteland them. Their hand is Fairy Macabre, Natural Order, and they have a 3/3 that may or may not untap. Thoughtseize is such a good card. Yeah, so they need a 1-drop elf here to untap the Nettle Sentinel and do anything. Like if it's a land, they don't have a spell. If it's a 2 or more spell, then they don't have a land. Guy's Cradle. I've heard that card's good, but you do need some additional help. What are they spending mana for? I know your hand. It taps for 1. Okay. Nile Spellbomb. Well, that looks embarrassing here. But I have the card Ponder in my hand. I'm just looking for lands to unlock the rest of this hand. If I start casting my spells, I'll be fine. Huh. Well, Beanstalk, Ponder, Wasteland. Do not shuffle. Do waste. Just try to keep them under the squeeze here, and we'll just play the same turn cycle over again next turn. I will Ponder again. I already have 4 cards in my graveyard, and the Ponder on top of my deck will be 5 if I find a second blue source. Murktide's cooking. Another Ponder. All right, this one I believe is a shuffle, even though the Brainstorm does do stuff with Tamiyo. I don't like the cards that are under it. Thoughtseize. Okay. We'll look at their hand again next turn. But I am having sort of an awkward situation here. This is how they can come back and take this game, is if I just don't do anything. And they get something like Allosaurus Shepherd going. I think I am just going to force this. This card's really good. I'm going to pitch Rakshas's Bargain. They still get to untap Nettle Sentinel, but this makes Gaia's Cradles, they draw worse. This makes a lot of stuff that they could draw worse. They don't get to scry with their Sylvan Anthem, which is really good right now. There's the Bash. How about just a land for Murktide? Or a Murktide for land. Alright, Thoughtseize again. Let's get a fresh look over there. 2 Fairy Macabre's Natural Order. Alright, I'll take Natural Order. And I am just 3 hits from Nettle Sentinel from dead. 1-drop creatures are good draws for them. Everything else is bad. And I just need any source of blue my deck plays. Okay, they passed. Ponder. Oh my god. Keep it moving. Alright, a land. A land, folks. We did it. Do not shuffle. Play blue to Delta. And I'll fetch Tropical Island and play Nile Spellbomb here. And I'm not going to stop attacking now. If they're super heads up, they could Fairy Macabre for the spells out of my graveyard right now just to make Murktide smaller. Now that it's clear I'm not Reanimator. Okay, I am just jamming this pre-combat before they get any ideas. And I'm making it medium size because I have the next one ready. They could exile the 4 spells now with that Murktide on the stack. Okay, we're doing it. Something's happening. Starting to turn the corner. Now if they exile these 4, this first Murktide grows. I found the second forest. I am just going to fetch an Underground Sea and Spellbomb them here. This is just a cycle. Spellbomb you. Lorien Revealed. Sweet. Okay. Oh, now I'm just going to hold a Force Blue card. I was going to do some stuff with Lorien Revealed, but now I'll just slam the door closed on my opponent. Here we go. Big ol' Murktides. Opponent is dead next turn. And they have to get through a Force of Will, and half of their hand is Fairy Macabre. This Tamiyo is going to make 7 treasures, deal no damage, draw no cards, and then the game will end. Or clues. The perfect card well spent. Never blocked, never dealt damage, never drew a card. But has been in play since turn 1. Zenith for 1. I think I just don't want to let them have anything here. I'll force this. This is a scry they don't get, a creature they don't get. Like if they were sandbagging Gaia's Cradle in their hand, it would tap for 2. I don't know. I don't even know what that could have been that I'd care about. But I'm just making sure it doesn't happen. Okay, sweet. Both of us sideboarding errors from my opponent's early scoop. I think it benefited me more than them, ultimately, because they were flooded with these Fairy Macabres that did not matter. On to the next round.
This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there.
I'm on the draw in round 3, and I am going to keep this hand, although this is one of those hands that just dies to Oops All Spells or Reanimator. But if my opponent's interested in any kind of fair magic, I like what I have going on here. Tropical Island, Shuko. Alright, well, it's not fair magic, but it's also not the worst. Fatal Push and Wasteland do interact with what my opponent's up to. They're on some naughty shit. They did mull to 6. Murderous Cut. I'm going to play my Misty Rainforest because my plan here is to get Hedge Maze. But I can just get a Underground Sea and Zappa an Illusionist if that is what's happening. Basic Forest, Urza Saga. Alright, we got him on the run. Fetching Basic Forest there. I'm not sure how much sense that makes because they're going to be exposed to Wasteland with Urza Saga anyway. I'm going to get Hedge Maze. Don't need a land. Tamiyo. I could Fatal Push Tamiyo, or I could just play Tamiyo plus Bayou. Leave up the push. If I play the fetch land, I would have access to Murderous Cut, or I could kill a bigger thing with Fatal Push. Yeah, I think like killing Nadu is a significant thing to consider. Okay. Like I could kill this Nightcat Cub anytime with either of the spells in my hand. Let me just get set up for what's going on their turn. Fetch land gets them a 4-4 or 5-4 when they equip the Shuko to it. Okay, well, This is why I did what I did. Underground Sea. Nadu resolves. Still in bad shape. They're going to get 2 flips out of this situation. Push the Nadu. If they have a counterspell, I probably lose. Oh, they flipped the Caracas into play. The nuts. This is completely blind. Oh, no. Yeah, now they can save their Nadu and get another trigger. Sucks to suck. And they just flipped Nomads off of Nadu. So next turn they will have Nomad plus Nadu. And there is still a Nadu trigger happening. Another Scythecat Cub. Alright, well, this game is over if I don't draw Force of Will immediately. That Caracas flip was sick. Well, that's not Force of Will. I do have the ability to Brainstorm. I'll attack with Tamiyo. That's happening. And then Brainstorm has to find Force. Daze is not going to do it. And I don't have a shuffle in between Beanstalk. Put back Sanctuary and Swamp, I suppose. Plus, I still have Murderous Cut. I guess it's Murderous Cut, Nadu, hope for the best. But they have the Caracas. If they just have like a land, they can play their whole hand. Yeah, I think I could have absorbed the 2 Nadu triggers that were Fate showing last turn when things started happening, but obviously the Caracas just cooks this whole situation. Oh, they're making a construct. Fascinating. All right, well, there's hope for this Daze in my hand, I guess. Another Shuko. Interesting. Okay, Plains. Putting a counter on the cat. Why wouldn't they just present their entire game winning loop again? And they are attacking Tamiyo here. I'd like to cut this cat. That lets me keep Tamiyo, who can rebuy either of these removal spells. And I am going to cycle Lorien Revealed because I don't want those lands that are on top of my deck. Okay, Tamiyo's gone. If they play the Nomad here, I can Daze it. Does that even matter? Okay, Ponder instead. Fair enough. I'm not going to Daze that. And like I said, Bayou's the worst land in the deck. I can't Lorien Revealed for Mystic Sanctuary buyback removal spell here because Bayou's in play. All right, we're looking for Thoughtseize. We're looking for Force of Will. Those are the best cards. Island Cycle, get Underground Sea. All right, big money. Ponder. That's a lot of looks at stuff. I will cast this card. Force of Will. We did it. Kind of. Right, Force of Will, enter my hand. Cast up the Beanstalk. Now I have Force plus Daze to try to survive this turn with. They can attack me for 5 on the board. They've seen a lot of cards. I know 3 of their 6 cards in hand right now. It's the 2 that are showing plus Nadu. P-hole. Alright, that makes Construct into a 2-turn clock instead of 3. There's another Beanstalk on top of my deck, though. Saga. Gonna have to say no here, or attempt to. I know 2 of their 3 cards, and they're not blue. Okay, there's a Beanstalk on top of my deck. Construct can be 6 power next turn. If Scythecat Cub plus land, it could be 7, 8. Yeah, they can beat a full-size Murktide next turn if they have a land drop. I suppose it's Ponder looking for Fatal Push. Thoughtseize showed up a little late. P-hole. I could... Caracas can bounce Tamiyo, that doesn't matter. I can Witherbloom Command, kill Portable Hole, drain them for 2, and then... Or no, I would need a land. Uh-oh. And there's not a fetch land in my graveyard. I left Wasteland there, but not a fetch. And I'll know the top cards in my deck, because that's how Ponder works. Witherbloom Command is almost useful here, just a little short. If I kill Portable Hole, I draw Tamiyo. If I kill Portable Hole... Oh wait, I will draw a different card, because if I mill myself with Witherbloom Command, if I go kill Portable Hole, mill myself, these will clear. I get to see the next card down. If it's a fetch land, Murktide's big enough. If it is not a fetch land, I can Wasteland Urza Saga. That's not enough. Wasteland Urza Saga, and I won't have the Tamiyo. Yeah, it's do this or shuffle. Those are my choices. Scythecat Cub, Nomad. Gaining 2 life's not good enough. Killing Shuko is not good enough. I think I'm going to go for the big swing here. Witherbloom Command. Let's do it. Do not shuffle Ponder. Witherbloom. I mill 3. Destroy Portable Hole. Black-green. Basic Swamp! Oh no. Alright, well, I'll take the Wasteland. I still have a draw here. Fatal Push. Wasteland flooded. And they got me dead for Xaxes. Alright. Not a bad fight, given how catastrophically that turn 4 or turn 3 Nadu situation went. Okay, Disruptor Flute, Shouldred's Edict, Thoughtseize, Fatal Push. These are all definitely happening. Pernicious Deed, probably good enough, because I did just lose to Urza Saga ultimately. Nile Spellbomb, I don't think they are Cephalid Breakfast if they have those Scythecat Cubs in there. I think they're mid-range Nadu. Daze is useful early, but falls apart pretty quick. I think I want to rely on my Thoughtseizes and non-targeted removal and Disruptor Flutes to do this. Is Kaito actually good? Probably. I need my Force of Wills, even though they're bad against every card in their deck except Nadu. But Nadu is such a good card. You gotta respect it. Is my opponent gonna Wasteland me? Do I need Basic Swamp? And one more cut if I want all these cards in. I'm kind of eyeing up this Barrowgoyf, kind of thinking about this Carpet Flowers a little bit. You can Shave Ponder in faster matchups, but this matchup is like mid-range creature stuff is probably the best matchup for Bug Beans. Like I would love to play against an opponent who wants to just kind of put creatures into play and like Disruption. We're built to chew that up, but the more you respect that, or the more you beat that up, the worse you get against Nadu, and vice versa. The Depth Touch on Barrowgoyf is so tempting, though. Just like a Barrowgoyf would have won me that last game. Okay, these things are happening, and I don't think I have more cuts I want to make. Bowmaster can kill Nomad's Encore, or the first Construct token if they don't already have Shuko in play. Maybe it is just Barrowgoyf over a Bowmaster. Alright, let's try this. Force of Vigor can kill Shukos and Urza Sagas, but I don't want to use my cards like that. I like this hand, keep it. Get to see what they're working with, and then I have options of what I want to do after that. Underground Sea, Thoughtseize. Veil of Summer, right on time, we did it. Well, take that shit away, because that ruins the rest of my plan. Alright, we've got Zenith, 3 lands, Cub, Nadu. Passing with a Misty Rainforest, I like it. I think I'm going to aggro Tamiyo here. Just Tamiyo Brainstorm. Make this shit happen. Buying back removal spells and Thoughtseizes are both useful to me. Am I going to spend 3 mana next turn? Yes, if I Thoughtseize them. So I'll put the Hedge Maze second from the bottom. Okay, plus, here we go. I think I will Force of Will the Scythecat Cub, because my plan is to Thoughtseize the Nadu. But knowing they have Zenith to get the next Nadu makes that a little worse, but Tamiyo is in the mix here. Basic Forest, Urza Saga. That one was a solid draw. Okay. If I wait on Force, then I'll have up the Beanstalk to keep it going. No, I'll force this. And then up the Beanstalk. I could just buy back Force of Will. Or I could Thoughtseize them. I think I'd rather Thoughtseize them, because Murktide's coming up next. Thoughtseize. Getcha. Rest in Peace. Annoying. Alright, I'm taking Nadu. Okay, so if they play Rest in Peace here, they don't get Constructs, and that's a real decision to make, because I do have the Murktide ready. Windswept Teeth. Please get greedy, please get greedy, please get greedy. Glad I used the Tamiyo immediately, though. Alright, cool, they're getting greedy. I'll take it. Plus Tamiyo. Play Hedge Maze first. Wasteland, hell yeah. Alright, well, I guess if I hadn't played that, I could have wasted the Urza Saga. A little messy. I'm still in before Rest in Peace. Their hand still looks pretty bad. But, of course, the card Nadu is in their deck. And they can... Ah, shit, they can Zenith for Nadu. Yeah, they just float a mana, tutor Shuko, and they get 4 Nadu flips, minimum. Yeah, I definitely should not have played that Hedge Maze before I played Murktide. Yeah, here's Shuko. Yep. I did not know about that Savannah, though. That Tropical Island is still in their hand. Bonder. Saga. Another Nadu. Another Rest in Peace. Okay, that wasn't too bad of a sequence, but I do need to do something here. Force of Will. Late to the party. Okay, plus Tamiyo. So hold up Force of Will or waste the Urza Saga are my choices. I think I have to waste the Saga. And do I try to get them dead or not? I can block with Orcish Bowmaster, so I think I do need to start applying pressure. Like, what is my plan to actually win this game? I can't just let them sit here and do this forever. even though I'm already insanely behind. Right, Shuko flips Caracas. Shuko flips Delighted Halfling. That's another round. Mockingbird. Fascinating. That's another round. Swords to Plowshares. I've lost. All right. Okay, I'm done playing this game. If I had played Murktide before playing Hedge Maze, so, I mean, that's tricky because if my top card was like land, I could bin that, draw a card that could have been Force of Will. It was specifically Wasteland there, specifically Wasteland, or specifically any untapped land. I guess any untapped land cast Bowmaster. Yeah, I may have fumbled the bag a little bit on this one. Yeah, I knew the Zenith was in their hand and didn't take the time to think about how the entire combo was just already presented if I don't break it up right now. And I think I was supposed to take the high roll of untapped land or specifically Wasteland in that spot. Okay, on to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables.
Good. All right, here we go, gang.
In this YouTube series, hosts Cedric Phillips and Patrick Sullivan take us on a set-by-set journey through the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a focused deep dive into the facts about a set's design and release, the Magic lore expressed through the cards in that set, Tournament Edition gameplay videos featuring products and Pro Tour decks of the era, an award show that shouts out the best and weirdest cards of the set, and a final grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/theresleevables. I'm on the draw for round 4. My opponent has kept 7 cards. Yeah, I'm going to keep a fair hand, but I have something to do on 1, 2, and beyond. Plains Chrome Mox. All right. Little white initiative, white stompy. Oh, Boros. Okay. My hand's reasonably resilient against Chalice of the Void right now. Shame they didn't lead on a non-basic, though. Okay, I'm going to play Bayou and pass the turn. Boros initiative usually doesn't play Wasteland, but if this is some lower to the ground build, I want to lead on something that I won't miss this bad. Oh, wow. No follow-up play. I'm going to go up the Beanstalk, sit on this Force of Will, or double Force, double blue card that don't work because of Chalice anyway. Wow, they were all in on that Chalice. Just another pass. I'll take it every time. Next turn, I can start deploying this Bowmaster and get to work. All right, they're up to 6 cards in hand. Cycle Lorien Revealed. I guess I want Tropical Island here. And pass with all sorts of options. I could Bowmaster, start pressuring, or bargain for +4 cards out of 6. I think I just want to apply pressure. If I draw too many cards, I'll just go to discard and lose them. Now I'm in hardcast Force of Will mode. And now I'm just trying to find a Murktide off this next bargain, or a Kaito. Alright, we're pitching Solitude. That's fine. Yeah, spending 2 cards to deal with Bowmaster, a card that is not even that good against their deck, is great for me. They found the gas. Magus of the Moon. I think I'm gonna bargain in response. This just gives me a lot of options, or the most options. I still can't answer a Chalice of the Void. So I will take Lorien Revealed, and in answers to Chalice are in my deck, though I do play Witherblooms. I will take this Fatal Push for the future. And then force pitching Brainstorm. That's handled. And they don't want to play anymore. I wouldn't either. Okay, sweet. Dismember was a big piece of technology 2 years ago at Eternal Weekend when I played Bug Beans, because Boros Initiative was such a big part of the metagame and Magus of the Moon was such a big deal. That is no longer the case. Like, Red Stompy is still a big part, but the Boros Initiative specifically, we had a dedicated sideboard plan for that, which we no longer have because the metagame doesn't really call for it. All right, now Spellbomb's out. I like Barrogoyf, Hydroblast, my sweepers, and extra removal. Fatal Push is kind of conditional and wonky because A, they're a Chalice of the Void deck, and B, all their creatures cost 3 or more. So I'm going to have to turn that push on in order to use it. Thoughtseize is good on turn 1 and 2 and bad after that. Right, I think I'm going to shave the Thoughtseizes on the draw. I'll reconsider them on the play. Ponder is kind of slow for this matchup. I would board out a Beanstalk here if I had 4, but I'm already playing 3, kind of pre-set up for this situation. Lorien Revealed is access to my island. Witherbloom Command kills Chrome Moxes and Chalice of the Voids. Also picks up Wasteland, big part of this matchup. Tamiyo's kind of slow and wonky, even though like the Kaito is in here and it's very good. It's probably too many Tamiyos. I'm not a huge believer in Daze on the draw versus a deck with this much mana, unless they keep a hand like they did last game. I'll leave one in just in case. Okay, this hand kind of slow to start, but has the stability stuff. Yeah, if they just turn one on Blood Moon, I'm cooked. This hand is reasonable versus Chalice of the Void. If I get set up at all to fetch a land, okay, Polluted Delta now. I'm just going to leave this up, because if they play a creature here, I can fetch Basic Swamp and push it. Ooh, a 4-drop. This will probably be Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Indeed it is. I'll push that shit. You better believe it. Lotus Petal. There's more. Okay, Fatal Push off Basic Swamp. Bargain someday may be useful, but I am going to ponder off of Basic Island right now. Bowmaster. Okay, I like Bowmaster. That is a way I can take the initiative. They're showing 5 mana. Do I think this Daze has any chance? I mean, I can't cast Bowmaster anyway, so yeah. I'll put the Daze in my hand and Bowmaster on top of the deck. They have to go into the Lost Well because they don't have a creature to forge onto. Or I guess they don't have to, but it's worse. They went top-bottom. Drop the Plains, kills the City of Traders. All right, another one of these, and as predicted, Daze is not good enough to stop it. This puts them into the stash, or they can cut across the arena and get into the archive. Went for the stash. If Bowmaster's here, I could brainstorm into it. I could just shove Barrowgoyf. I think having 2 creatures to take the initiative is better than the bigger creature. And they're going to make a spooky skeleton, and getting an actual kill with Bowmaster here is nice. Chalice of the Void on 1. I suppose I should brainstorm now. Get it while it's hot. Beanstalk and some lands. This is too many lands. And is Bargain where I want to be? Is Deed where I want to be? Indeed's slow as hell, but it does kill all this shit. I have some belief in Daze right now. Is Beanstalk too slow? Yeah, I think it's Beanstalk that's too slow, actually. Okay, these are gone. And your Chalice of the Void resolves. Okay, they get to attack and flip a card with the Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Hope it's a stinker. Seasoned Dungeoneer. Not a stinker, but they can't cast it. And it is now very, very, very important to me to draw a removal spell. I'm going to get Tropical Island. Play Bowmaster. Cook the Skeleton. I fetched all my basics already, so the first room of the initiative dungeon doesn't do anything for me. Alright, deck Fatal Push. Not Fatal Push. This creature has Trample, but I do have a 4/5. That is big enough to tangle. All right, let's see if I get the initiative first. They would need 2 Solitudes to stop this from happening. Okay, sweet. Nothing to tutor. And my options here are high roll Bargain, looking for exactly Fatal Push, or just play Barrowgoyf and hope it's enough. And I think play Barrowgoyf, hope it's enough is the line. Okay, City of Traders, now Daze doesn't matter. There was like a moment there where Daze stopped most of their worst things, like Solitude. That's not where we live, though. All right, well, there's Solitude. And dazing this does not make sense. They're going to end up in the Throne of the Dead 3. All right. Caves of Chaos Adventure gets a flip. It's not free this turn, but it will be free next turn. I should fetch now, because if Throne of the Dead 3 hits a Magus, it's too late. Hedge Maze, get a dig. It's not Underground Sea. That's not the one. I need basically Murderous Cut. 10 cards revealed. Magus of the Moon is among them. So is Solitude and Seasoned Dungeoneer. Any one of those beats me. Just pick one. Close your eyes and point. Yep, Magus of the Moon. That turns off Cavern of Souls and City of Traders. But that's not really what we're playing around anymore. All right. Deed. How dead am I? Oh, I can't play Deed. I don't have a forest. All right. Yep, dead. Very dead is the answer. Okay, tough matchup. Now we're on the play. Thoughtseize gets a lot better here. Daze is better too, but I think I'd rather have Thoughtseize if I have one of those cards or the other. Do I want to shave another Beanstalk for a Thoughtseize? The problem is if you shave too low, then you don't have any velocity and you just like force a will something, fatal push something, and then you have no way to actually move the game forward. Is it another Tameo? Is that what the game is about at all? Tameo and Beanstalk? Get all my Thoughtseizes in on the play. Okay, I will try this. I like the Force Will, like the Thoughtseize, even like the Wasteland. I don't like that I can't do anything though. I will mulligan this. Okay, this is basically the same hand except it works. I like that better, obviously. I cannot fetch basic Swamp though. With this hand, we'll have to get a non-basic. Keep and bottom. I think Fatal Push is the worst card in this hand. Opponent's also on 6. Just going to get an Underground Sea and get to work. Hope this hand sucks. Chalice of the Void, 4th Aerolingus. Interesting. So they can shove Chalice. They could Lingus for a gajillion. I'm actually going to take the Chalice and dare them to go all in on 4th Aerolingus. City, Petal. Another Petal. Oh, yeah. All right, go in. Big Lingus. They're doing it. Left back, 1 Lotus Petal. 1 Respect Lotus Petal. Good call. Wasteland. Is this card even worth playing? That does keep them off 4 drops, so yes. Most of their important cards cost 4. If they Magus me right now, that sucks. All right, not even playing out the City of Traders. All right, come on, deck. All right, this is the spot where having Beanstalk matters a lot. Like, this is exactly what I was talking about. You spend some stuff, dealing with some stuff, and then you're just kind of sitting here. And would I have gotten to this point if I had more Beanstalks in my deck? I don't know. Is a 3rd land useful? I don't think so. I want spells. Murktide Region is a spell. Pretty good one at that. All right, there it is. We got a plan. Plains deleting the City of Traders with no play. Wow. That's weird. I assume they have a plan, but that is really weird. Okay, another City of Traders. Okay, Caves of Chaos Adventure. Okay, so this will introduce the initiative. I can Edict the Adventurer, then I take the initiative, tutor a basic on a clear board, and I'm pretty far ahead. Each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature of their choice. Mystic Sanctuary. I'd attack first, so I shuffle. And then I would like my basic Swamp, because I'm about to fetch Island. Do I want Sheoldred's Edict on top of my deck? Does that even matter? I could just play the Swamp and pass. Alright, I'll just play the Swamp and pass. Because my creature flies. That's a pretty good deal versus most of the creatures they could play here. Caves of Chaos Adventure is back. They get to Forge or Lost Well. I imagine they have to Lost Well on this situation, and they did. Yeah, I mean, I would like to have Sheoldred's Edict in my hand, given how this game went right now. They went top. That's terrifying. All right, can I get a good card? Ponder. We love Ponder. Okay, I can definitely Ponder up Sheoldred's Edict right now. I think I'm going to do that. All right, fetch basic, Island, play Mystic Sanctuary, get back Sheoldred's Edict. Yes, that makes Murktide bigger. Ponder, Beanstalk into Edict is very exciting. Do not shuffle, play Beanstalk, draw Edict, and I will attack for 6. And do I want to go into the Forge? The trap just kills them. If I ever get the initiative again in this game, I am going to Forge. And then each opponent sacrifices a non-token creature of their choice. Just doing it now. I can't think of a reason to wait. They did go top over there. All right, we did it. What a slugfest. On to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in the final round. Positive record locked, playing for the bread and butter 4-1. I have this beautiful spread of cards, and I have to mulligan them. Okay, I will keep this. Opponent said, props to your podcast. Everyone listen to the Eternal Glory podcast if you don't. I'm occasionally surprised when someone says they didn't know I had a podcast, who watches the channel regularly, and vice versa. People who listen to the podcast who are surprised to learn I have a YouTube channel. Just how we are fed our media is an interesting thing in this world we live in. Hey. I'm never not going to cast this. Even if they do go Entomb Reanimate and like Sheoldred's Edict might kill their Attracts or whatever, like I'd still rather have Beanstalk in play. Tundra is probably really good news for me. All right, Spell Pierce. That card's annoying. But Tundra means we're not going to get Entomb Reanimated. Esper. Staff of the Storyteller. That dies to Witherbloom Command, and so does the token. The question is, am I worried about the token, or would I like an attempt at self-mill? Do I think this deck's going to have days in it? And milling a Wasteland here is really good. I barely care about this creature at all. Alright, I think I'm going to go for self-mill. Target player mills 3, destroy target small permanent. I'd love Wasteland the most, but I'll take any land. And if I do end up getting dazed, I deserve everything that is coming to me. Hey, we did it. Everything worked out perfect. Snap that Wasteland. Actually, all 3 of the cards I milled were lands. Polluted Delta, Wasteland, Wasteland. I love when a plan works. And that was a moment of thinking about everything that matters or could matter. Like the obvious play is kill the spirit, kill the staff, and then you're completely out from under the staff and any problems it may have caused you. But that was so much better. I don't care about a 1/1 going along. All right, do I want a 4/4 Murktide Regent, or do I want to spend some time bargaining? I think I'm going to bargain. And I'm actually just going to cast it in their upkeep before they can draw land to cast Spell Pierce with, a card that they have shown me that they play. Edge Maze, Daze. Ponder, Brainstorm. I think it's Ponder and Daze. Daze is pretty good against opponents with 1 land on turn 4, right? I've heard that. All right, that Force of Will is a great find. I was just going to say their 1 land does pay for Daze if Force of Will on Murktide Regent is the line they have. I'm going to Ponder to juice up this Murktide a little more. Push, another Daze. Sure. I will take Daze number 2 and deploy Murktide number 1. Do I want Bargain in my graveyard, or do I want a bigger Murktide? It'll be 6/6. It actually does change the clock if it's 7/7. But if I draw Mystic Sanctuary, it's back where it started. I can Murderous Cut at any point. Okay, all right. I am going to stop at 6/6 for this Murktide. They do have the Force. So do I. And we're in. And I can Murderous Cut and make the Murktide 8/8 anytime moving forward. If they hit a white source for Swords to Plowshares, we're kind of back in the basement. I think I'm actually going to Fatal Push this Spirit token. That might seem needlessly aggressive, but I want them dead in 3 turns, and the Spirit token is not doing anything else, and I don't think Fatal Push is doing anything else. Though now I can't Murderous Cut to make Murktide bigger, but because they Force of Willed, I don't need to. Oh, white mana. My arch nemesis. Please don't cast Swords to Plowshares. Play any other card, especially a 2-drop. Okay, they just fetched and stopped and passed the turn. I'm going to plow in my upkeep. Is that what we're setting up here? Yes, indeed. All right, back to work then. Fatal Push. All right, we're back to control, and we'll see who gets out of this. Screw beats Flood, but I'm not really flooding. I just have a ton of reactive cards in my hand. They are screwed, though. Or they were. A Beanstalk, a Bowmaster. These are what I'm looking for. Witherbloom Command. I mean, yes. I'll mill 3. I'll drain you for 2. Black, green. Pick that Wasteland back up. Take you back off. White. Pick up Wasteland. I did mill over a Bowmaster. Not a huge problem. I got more where that came from. Witherbloom Command rules. I'm just mad at whatever coward at Wizards of the Coast made it a sorcery. But otherwise, the card is perfect. Why would -3/-1 be a sorcery speed effect? This must have been an instant at some point in development. Okay, they brainstormed in response. The Tundra died. Are they in a tasty little brainstorm lock, or are they just playing on? Playing on seems to be the answer. But I've kept Daze alive a little longer. How many Tundras does the deck play? If they have to fetch a Scrubland here, that would be great. If they have basic planes, that's great. Basic planes, okay. No blue cards. Daze looking good here. This is the engine their deck is built around. Let's not let them have it. Brainstorm. Come on, let's go. Find the goods. Beanstalk. Kaito. I quite like that card. I'm going to put back 2 Fatal Pushes and then cast Murktide Regent. This Kaito is a long way off. All right, full size, instant death Murktide Regent. However, they've shown me Swords to Plowshares and I have no answer to it. My next land cast Kaito, but I know that's not coming for 2 turns. Uh-oh, a third land. If they have something like Teferi, that'll be super annoying. But I could just replay Murktide if it's Teferi they're looking for. All right, Brainstorm, digging for that plow. If they have Staff of the Storyteller or some other blocker, I have a million ways to clear that. Okay, cool. They whiffed. Esper tokens, Staff of the Storyteller, something or other. This is probably an Urza Saga deck. Do not like Force of Will. Disruptor Flute is good. Children's Edict's probably terrible. That might be worse than Force. Force of Vigor will have targets. Veil of Summer will have action. They don't seem interested in their graveyard very much. I don't think I want more Thoughtseizes or Fatal Pushes, but both seem fine in the numbers that already exist. That gets me one Force of Will back in the deck. Maybe I'll cut another Fatal Push for another Force of Will. Force of Will just matters a lot because it's one of your best things at triggering Beanstalk and solving generic problems, even if it costs you 2 cards. This is the type of matchup that I'm mostly looking for. Slow, grindy mess. Like, I can grind through mess. Their deck's going to have Orcish Bowmaster in it, though. Should I have this last Fatal Push in? Have I cut my Children's Edict yet? Yes, I did that already. We didn't see Wasteland, but that doesn't mean they don't have it. All right, I'm going to shave a Daze and get Fatal Push back in out of respect for Orcish Bowmaster, beginning and end of list. Okay, I will keep this hand. It has all my mana because I have double Lorien Revealed and Beanstalk. Get the engine going. Retrofitter Foundry, that card's really good. Okay, pass the turn with my basic swamp. Pernicious Deed seems like just a KO from this deck. From the top rope, John Cena, out of nowhere. Shutting it all down. Brainstorm. I have played some version of my opponent's deck on the channel before if you want to check out. Esper Tokens. It's a Marcus Ewald special. That deck was really good. Getting an Underground Sea in the main. Soul Guide Lantern. All right. You have to exile one of your own cards here. But it will sit in play and delay a Murktide Region eventually. They can't Spell Pierce with the mana they're showing, so it will cost 2 cards to answer this Beanstalk, unless they do actually have Daze, which would be weird. Witherbloom Command, so sick. Take out that Foundry at some point. Force pitching Lorien. Would I rather force and have a fight over this Beanstalk, or would I rather take the 2-for-1 off the Beanstalk and have force for their next play? I think I would rather let them counter this, just take the 2-for-1. Because if they follow up with, like, Orcish Bowmaster, that makes my hand very bad. My hand does nothing but draw cards. Brainstorm. And this is where Retrofitter starts doing its job. And I'm going to get an Underground Sea with Lorien Revealed. And I'm going to Witherbloom for Destroy and Mill. Mill myself, target Retrofitter. I don't have a land ready to go, but I'm going to trust in my deck to deliver one. We did it. All right, I found an Underground Sea or a fetch land. I'll take the fetch land. There's no window while Witherbloom Command is resolving to Soul Guide Lantern that. It happens all at once. Like, if I already had a land in the graveyard, they could Soul Guide Lantern in response to Witherbloom, but the 3 cards that the Witherbloom sees. Oh, and they just burned off the Soul Guide for a card. Desperation Mode activated. 3 cards in hand, 4 mana. Do not want to play against Staff of the Storyteller. That is their Up the Beanstalk. And Basic Swamp's in play, so I don't have a quick route to Witherbloom Command before that kicks in. Ponder. I think this Soul Guide Lantern also confirms that Urza Saga is in the deck somewhere. Retrofitter Soul Guide. That looks like a Saga package to me, even if I didn't mostly already know what this deck did. All right, Tameo, get in. Brainstorm. Oh, I can play around Spell Pierce here, so I probably should. Brainstorm. Cool. All right, they didn't have the Plow, or at least didn't use it right away. Waiting until this trigger on this deck is the safer way to do that, unless you're worried about Brainstorm coming up with an answer to your removal spell. I'm going to ponder here. I have the luxury of pondering and still having Force blue card. Murktide Regent. Yes, please. Let's get this game won. They fetched a Scrubland at the end of the turn. No, I could have played around this by stacking differently. I think I have to force this. This is just my plan to win the game. Okay. Now I have some choices. I could buy back and cast Lorien Revealed. I could just shove Murktide Regent. I could buy back Force of Will and hold for a turn. I'm going to get Lorien Revealed. If their hand is Orcish Bowmaster, that's fine. I'm still drawing 3 cards in their Hellbent. My life total is robust enough to absorb some of that nonsense. Mystic Sanctuary, yeah, I'll target Force of Will with that. Just moving cards all around. Oh, Spell Pierce is annoying. Bowmaster is annoying. Neither of them is devastating. Okay, Bowmaster it is. I will end up taking 7 from this thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, so 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll take 8 from this thing, and then play a Murktide that's bigger than it next turn. All right, acknowledged the possibility and determined it's fine. Let's hope that holds up. Of course, if I had just shoved Murktide into this Bowmaster, they'd be dead in 2 hits without a thing to do about it. But if their last card in hand was Swords to Plowshares instead, I'm much better doing the Luring Revealed line. Oh, that's really good. I don't think I can afford to force it because this Murktide is my win condition. Okay, drawing a card. They're starting to claw back in, but an 8/8 is still really big. If I draw a blue card, I will feel comfortable in the game right now. Force of Vigor. It's not the blue card I wanted. All right, Thoughtseize you. Go to 6. Hope for the best. Hope I can just take a Swords to Plowshares out of their hand. Whoa! Sniper mode. Okay, here we go. Got a fade for a turn. Maximum size. Their creatures do not push through this, and next turn I'll be holding up Force of Will. I am dead on board, though. If I attack, they do have 6 damage, so I need a removal spell or a second blocker before we can advance. I'm out of tech lands. Or wait, no, I haven't used my Hedge Maze, have I? All right, Hedge Maze is still in the deck, which is perfect because that gives me the double green I'm looking for anyway. I fetch down to 5. Hedge Maze. Do not want Misty Rainforest. Come on, deck. Big rips. I'm just going to chill. Hardcast Force is a play. I can't afford to ponder. Like, it's not a big deal. If things start to slip a little bit, that's a button I can push. Like the Orc Army being 5/5 to my 4 life is not much different than it being 4/4 to my 5 life. Okay, just draw go. Another Thoughtseize. Risky. Okay, I am going to ponder now. If I can clear this Orc Army, if I can find Pernicious Deed here especially, something like that. Another Bowmaster. How much does this matter? So this will be 5, 6, 7, and I'll be at 3. This actually does kill me. All right. Well, that sucks. Force of Will that. Fatal Push second Murktide Regent. Yeah, that's about as good as it gets. So I will draw this Murktide Regent right now and hope that the card in their hand and the one on top of their deck do not remove Murktide Regent and kill me this turn. Starting next turn, I'm ready to jam. Okay. I mean, I gain 8 life from that. So the game will look the same next turn, except now I have Fatal Push available. But instead of 2 Murktides, I only have 1. And this one is only 7/7. I don't have enough spells. Unless I Fatal Push first. Is that something I want to do? Hold up. Hold up. I could kill Bowmaster and make Murktide even bigger. Or is Orc Army the problem? Yeah, I think I'm going to kill Orc Army and then play a full-size Murktide. Do I want to Thoughtseize? Probably should. Life total getting dicey, but we could know. I guess if I was going to Thoughtseize, I could have held the Fatal Push as a trick. All right, that was a little messy. Now I get to leave Witherbloom Command in the graveyard, which is the best card if I draw a Tamiyo to recur it. All right, I'm all in here. I am actually winning the onboard damage race. If I attack them for 8, they attack me for 2, then I attack them for 8 again. That favors moi. But if they have a Bowmaster or anything, it no longer favors me. I'm going to waste... doesn't matter. They have pretty solid colors. I'll take out the Underground Sea. All right, I'm going to commit to this damage race. This fundamental limited Magic the Gathering here. Okay. Half of your life total is gone. You can take 2/3 of my life total. Then we'll see where we are as the dust settles. They didn't Bowmaster in the end step. Bowmaster from hand also does it, though. Another Staff of the Storyteller as a blocker also does it. Ooh, just attacking with Bowmaster. That's good news for me. They do not have it. There's the planes we just saw. Removal spell? Not quite. Yeah, I'm just going to keep on slamming. This is the plan that I have committed to. They have to block here. All right, there's the block. And let's fade a Bowmaster. If they have something like Petty Theft or Teferi, I'm in a lot of trouble. Even if they Swords to Plowshares, it buys me 8 additional turns versus the pressure they're showing to figure out how to deal the last 8 damage to them, and I don't mind that situation. We got the GGs. And there it is, the 4-1 bread and butter, losing only to mid-range Nadu, beating a bunch of other decks. A lot of good matches. This deck does lend itself to great Magic. Win or lose, you're probably going to make some decisions and do some cool stuff. As far as Spunky's aggressive build of this deck, Kaito came up once. It was pretty good. There was another time it was stuck in my hand, but would be good if I drew my 4th land. As far as the Bug Bean shell goes, hell yeah. It's all the decisions you get to make, the ability to burn out an opponent from 8, it just passively hiding among all your objects here. Thoughtseize phenomenally positioned in this metagame. It's a deck you don't mind playing a Nile Spellbomb or 2 in the main. You could make that Endurance if you prefer that sort of thing. Rakshas's Bargain remains one of my favorite Magic cards to cast of the last 5 years. Yeah, this deck is a beautiful work of art, as long as you respect the Reanimator and Oops All Spells out there in your deck building, sideboarding, and mulliganing decisions. I feel confident recommending it against the rest of the format. Feels good. Always feels good. Spunky, thank you for asking me to play this. Everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon to support the channel, and I'll see you next time.